Hey, this is Gary, Late Night V Twin. Today, we're going to install an oil cooler in this 2005 Softail. Is your bike running way hotter than it used to? Did a performance upgrade in it? We can show you how to fix that. It's real simple. Takes a couple of hours at the most. There's a lot of pluses about it. It has a lot of oil capacity to it, and it also could almost drop your oil temperature almost 20 degrees. So this oil cooler that we're going to be installing today fits about a 97 or 98 year to 2017. Fits all the standard Softail models, except for ABS brakes. If we have any problems with the install, we'll cover all of that in the video when we do it. So let's get started. Here's the oil cooler we're going to be installing in this bike today. It's an excellent product, a little on the expensive side, but what's your Harley worth? $700 plus labor install. But here's what comes in the kit. We've got the actual oil cooler. Mounts underneath the bike, not in front, on the side down tubes where it can be easily damaged with road debris, maybe a crash, maybe the ex-girlfriend sticks a knife in it, I don't know. But anyway, it's made out of billet material. It's made in America. Excellent product. This is our oil filter adapter. It's going to be going in place of where the oil filter is at. Going to run our lines through. Comes with all the JIC fittings, no leaks. Braided stainless steel lines, high quality stuff. We're going to put this underneath the motorcycle. It's going to be hidden. You're not going to see it. Oil coolers are so ugly when they're out in the open and easily damaged and stuck with the knife. So we're going to make sure this gets under the bike and cools this bike off for my customer. All right, this is where the oil filter's at. And we're going to take this off and we're going to put this in its place and put this oil filter on this adapter. Well, this oil filter's got a nut here on the backside with an 11/16 socket, so we can just put that on there and spin this off. So we're going to spin this oil filter off. We're going to save it. Okay, so this is a 5/32 Allen wrench that we're going to take this apart. I'm taking the two halves apart because we have to remove the inner nut from, we have to remove this nut right here. Okay. And then we're going to replace it with part of this oil cooler. We've removed the oil filter from the bike, and with a 7/8 socket, we've removed the factory oil filter stand from the factory oil filter plate. I have taken the screws out of the new oil filter adapter so that we can open up the halves so we can access the new oil filter plug stand that's going to go into the factory mount and mount this half of the oil filter adapter for the new cooler in place. Needs a little bit of red Loctite. Okay, so we're mounting this down, making sure that the O-rings stay in place. About 15 or so foot-pounds. Actually, I'm going to back this up a little bit. I don't want it all the way back. Okay, this is where I need. I'm putting a little screwdriver in place here because I don't want it to roll against the engine case. So now we've got the inner part of the oil filter cooler adapter fastened to the engine. We're going to install the outer half where the new oil filter is going to go. Okay, so now we're going to install these two screws right here on the oil filter adapter on the top. We're going to bolt that outer half to the inner half. Okay, we're going to take this ball socket Allen here, and we're going to tighten this all up. And it just needs to be a good hand and tight. There's lock washers on it. It does not require Loctite. These should be fastened down to about 120 inch-pounds. Put a good hand tight. Remember, we're going from a stainless steel fastener into aluminum. We don't want to ruin the threads, but a good and tight works. Okay. We're going to test fit this under the bike because obviously we've got to route these lines from these fittings to the oil filter cooler adapter that we just installed on the motorcycle. We've got the bike jacked up on the table now, so we've got some room in here to work and take a look at. We're going to test fit the oil cooler right now. So here's the oil cooler. It's got this tab on the back that slides up into the lower bracket for where the shocks are mounted. Slides up in here like so. It's going to mount up in front where the crash bar bolts are. This bike is not equipped with a crash bar, and it's not going to be. So that's going to make this oil cooler installation a lot easier because we have the open holes on both sides to grab the fasteners with to grab the oil cooler. The manufacturer of this oil cooler states that he can shoot it with a shotgun, not pierce it, and still keep on rolling. The great thing about the oil cooler is that it's exposed to the air that moves underneath the motorcycle, unlike the air that's exposed to the front here where it's blocked by the engine and the frame and whatnot. Also, those types of oil coolers have copper tubing or aluminum tubing in them with fins that get easily damaged by road debris and rocks and sticks and a knife from your ex.
What's he doing?
I'm routing the oil lines down in because I test fit this. Hitting on something. This is why we test fit it. I'll test fit all of this first. I like that a lot better. It doesn't hit. Got the cooler installed already. It's all bolted in. We've got this line run and routed. It's not tight here. We're going to install this line right here. And then we'll give everything a tighten up. The oil cooler is basically installed now. Everything's tight. These hydraulic fittings are a JIC. They should be hand tight, and I'm not talking about put a breaker bar on it and snap them off. Everybody's version of hand tight's different. Roughly about 5-8 pounds maybe, but you know, good and tight. And yeah, so now we're going to put the oil filter on. And you want to go just about a quarter of a turn past where it's just good and tight right there. And now our oil filter is installed. Our oil cooler is installed. A little something about what we did underneath, because you didn't get to see me do that part when I hung the oil cooler. On the back of the oil cooler, on the left-hand side of the motorcycle, there's a little finger that's welded to the oil cooler. That goes up into a bracket that's up underneath. That's part of the motorcycle cross member. It's pretty self-explanatory that goes up in there. It fits right in. And then the front 2 bolts with the spacers, the instructions will tell you about that. Obviously, there's no crash bar installed on this motorcycle, engine guard that would be here. So we utilize the spacers that are down below. Everything's just good and hand tight. We've made sure that all our hydraulic fittings are good and tight. This installation took me approximately an hour, just normal everyday hand tools. It's going to allow this bike to run 15 degrees, maybe 20 degrees cooler. There's no reason to take this to the Harley dealer, to a custom shop. You can do it right here at the house with some simple hand tools. It's real easy to do. You're going to spend some coin on the parts, but it's well worth it. This oil cooler is going to save you a lot of money in the long run. It's going to allow the bike to run a lot cooler. You're going to get a lot more performance and a lot more mileage out of that bike. The bike's ready to roll. Took me an hour, but we got it in there. The customer came to me with just a real big problem with the bike running hot. I had it up at an event up in Reno, and the bike ran so hot it was pinging and detonating and making some really bad noises. So this oil cooler, even though it was an expensive purchase up front, it's going to save him thousands down the road. This is my first video here at Late Night V Twin. We've got a lot more videos coming up. Make your comments down here. For those questions, I got answers. And we're going to make that happen here at Late Night V Twin.